Oh yeah, Stacey does talk about his mom. He talks about his mom very briefly, and he mentions how she's dead and lying in a ditch.
Stacey's mom is lying in a ditch. Stacey's mom is lying in a ditch.
What's up, everybody? My name is Robbie. Welcome back. You're watching Geek Level Asian, and I know all of you have been waiting a while to see how I feel about Twokaizer, so we're gonna do that in this video, and make sure to watch to the end because I think my opinion and my thoughts are going to surprise you, because anyone who knows and has been a fan of this channel and been watching these videos knows I am a Gokaiger freak. But yeah, first I'll go into, I didn't do, I believe it was episode 8, so we're going to be going over like episodes 8 and 9 kind of in one, with that amazing cliffhanger from episode 7. I'll go like through like a general plot synopsis, but I really want to get to Twokaizer and basically, you know, his story and where he comes from with his sister and all that. Before I dive in, make sure you like this video. If you are a Super Sentai fan and you'd like other Super Sentai fans to see this video in their feed, it helps the algorithm push this video to more people like you. And it also helps me as well. So, as we all know, in episode 7, we're left with this incredible cliffhanger. Stacey has made all of these gigantic mecha, and it looks like, you know, it's too many mecha on 4, pretty much. And it's an unfair fight. But then, in the beginning of this episode, he makes even more, and it gets even crazier and crazier until we realize that the Gear-to-Zinger does have a limit, or it's the Gear-to-Zinger or the gears themselves that do have a limit, or else that would honestly be like a ridiculous power to have. You can make as many mecha as you want. So basically, he makes too many, and then they all start disappearing because he's used too much power. They go further into, and we get further elaboration, that Stacey is Barashitara's son. I'm probably butchering that name, you know, Tank Head. But, so we know that Stacey was part, he looks human, he at least looks human, and he's part robot. I'm very curious, this opens an entire can of worms about how Stacey was born? And Stacey's whole thing is he's basically an emo kid. His father doesn't understand him. The whole thing, his whole gripe with the world is that his father doesn't understand him. Super emo. The monster of the week is Doorworld, and his power is, it's honestly super stupid, but it's really annoying and can be super frustrating. So basically, every time you go through a door, it transports you to a different place, which I'm realizing literally in this moment is very much like the two twins in The Matrix 2, where they keep closing doors on Neo, and when he goes through them, he's in a different place. It's kind of like that. So basically, you go through a door, you end up, well, in different parts of the town, then they end up in like different parts of the world, which again can be super frustrating, especially if you're trying to fight a monster in your part of the world. But I love the way that they solve for this. The Zenkaiger, they can become gigantic, right? They become, you know, gigantic mecha. So the whole solve for it is they just go into their giant forms, and when they run, they can travel a further distance and get back to wherever they live, most likely in Japan. They never actually say that, but we'll just say it's Japan. They all run back to the area where the actual fight is happening. There's this one shot that shows, I think his name is Gege, the evil robotic bird, you know, next to other characters. I didn't realize how big that thing was, because Sechan is like tiny. Gege is huge. Oh yeah, Stacey does talk about his mom. He talks about his mom very briefly, and he mentions how she's dead and lying in a ditch.
Stacey's mom is lying in a ditch. Mom is lying in a ditch.
There's an inevitable face-off between Kaito and Stacey, or if you want to call them Zenkaiger and Staceyzer. They have their own, you know, like hand-to-hand combat, and Staceyzer uses the 5-man and Maskman teams against Kaito in this fight. I don't know about you guys, but I think Sechan's voice is like super annoying. Every time an episode starts and he's like screaming at the top of his lungs. I don't know, I just think that's annoying. What's funny, and something that I wasn't expecting, is that Stacey is actually the one who destroys Doorworld at first, and I didn't get why, but then they explain it. He wanted Doorworld to just get into giant mode right away, pretty much like expediting the process. The Zenkaiger team uses the Kirame gear, or the Kiramager gear, or whatever you want to call it, and it was a little bit lackluster, pun intended. And that brings me to the moment you've all been waiting for, which is Twokaizer, whose name is Zox Goldtweaker. It sounds like he does some type of drug that involves gold. And so let's talk about the character, then we'll talk about the Henshin, and then we'll talk about the character design and and so on and so forth. Zox's thing is he likes to sing and dance. Whether he's henshining or not, he breaks out into song and dance. I don't know how much I like that. I am just gonna say, so far I think it's a little dumb, but maybe it'll grow on me. You know, a lot of people don't like my favorite character, which is Guy. A lot of people think that he's, you know, over eccentric and he's like, you know, he's a little too energetic. I really like that character, and it's because I can relate to his, like, Sentai fandom. I'm not really into the whole singing and dancing pirate thing. That's just not for me. Like, I'm just not, that's not for me. Now, let's talk about his Henshin real quick. It's a little too long. Like, I'm okay with a dance, do a dance. Do one. You know what? Do it. Do a little two-step if you want to, but this is, like, really long. And I think it's honestly not even a cool dance. If it was, like, cooler, I'd even be more into it, but I'm just not into it. His design, like his look, character design, looks awesome. He's very Kamen Rider-y. He, like, definitely looks like he's a tough guy. You know, he's got, his jacket's cool, his haircut's cool. His Henshin device itself is cool. I don't even know what that's called. Guys, help me out with that. Leave that down in the comments. I like how it's got, like, the pirate wheel and it turns into a sword and everything. Cool. But the singing and dancing, I'm just not into it. Those are first impressions. Now let's go into his backstory in episode 9. But yeah, he's there for Stacey, and it's funny because there's a shot where Kaito's basically like, oh, you're not here for me? And he, like, dips out, and it's a really funny shot. I like stuff like that, those, like, Sentai tropes. But yeah, there's a quick little nod to Gokaiger as soon as Zox de-henshins. The first thing he says is that he's hungry, which we all know is a Captain Marvelous line. So Twokaizer has 2 power-ups, and we've seen pictures of these already online before the episode even came out. But he has a Zenkaiger one, and he has an O-Ranger one. The Zenkaiger one is pretty cool, and it seems like it changes his persona. He's more like Takaru. He's, you know, a little quieter. He's a little bit more slick. The O-Ranger one, I get, is supposed to look like, you know, like some Egyptian design. I don't love it. I just don't think it looks really O-Ranger enough for me. I think I'd like it more if it looked more like King Ranger. So now I didn't talk about the Henshin design because they explain it in this episode, in episode 9. Why do you look like Gokaiger? This was the big question that we were all wondering. Why do you look like Captain Marvelous? You know, are you part of, you know, Gokaiger? Are you, like, from a different parallel alternate universe? I hated this explanation, but I get it. So if you haven't watched the episode, basically there is a Piratopia, and Piratopia, it, like, you know, from all the other episodes, like Kikaitopia, there's different worlds of specific types of people, and in Piratopia, they're all pirates. My question is, if you're all pirates, is anybody really a pirate? That sounds like it's just a regular citizen to me. And with that being said, they pirated the look of the Gokaiger because they've come across their look before, and this is the introduction to Zox's sister, Flint. Zox has a pirate sister who designed the suit and liked the design of the Gokaiger suits and basically copied that. I don't know, guys. You know, I think it could have been a cooler explanation, but it is fitting for this type of story, so, you know, I'm just gonna give it a flat. I don't hate it, I definitely don't like it, but it's kind of like, okay, I see what you did there. So in this episode, we do find out how Zox and his sister got access to the gears and, you know, and why they're able to henshin. It's basically because they infiltrated the Toji Tendo and their ship and stole a bunch of stuff like pirates do, and that's why he's Twokaizer. Oh, he's also got these, like, 2 floating robot friends that he calls his little brothers. Their names are very random. Kutner and Ricky. Okay, the monster of the week in this episode is Kashiwa Mochi, which is evidently some type of delicious food, and it makes you addicted to that food. That was the monster of this episode. I'm almost certain that this was my least favorite monster of the series. Like, it just makes you hungry for this food. Come on, guys. Like, I'm starting to think that already they ran out of monster ideas for this show. So now I guess the most important thing, which is basically, you know, Zox's character and who he is as a person. In the beginning of the episode, they arrive at the shop. The pirates arrive at the shop, and they eat a bunch of food, and then they steal basically everything in the shop. And obviously Kaito, his grandmother, and the others in Zenkaiger are like, hey, you can't do that. I'm not going to go into too many specifics, but basically, by the end of the episode, Zox pays off his debt. He pays off his bill. So he is a good guy. But when Zox repays his debt, he repays them in a currency that doesn't exist on Earth. So do with that what you will. Yeah, and so he's officially the 6th. He's officially the 6th Zenkaiger. What do you guys think of Zox? And be honest with me, I'm kind of disappointed, and it might be because, guys, I am such a Zenkaiger. I'm such a Gokaiger freak. I'm really, Gokai Silver is my favorite. You probably know that already. It's my favorite series, and I was so excited to see this character, and I just kind of think that they went in a direction that I'm just not feeling it. Maybe I'll start to feel it later, but right now I'm just not feeling it. But that's it, guys. I'll leave you with that. Make sure to leave all those comments down in the description. You can follow me on all the socials. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Yes, you can follow me on the socials. And that's it, everybody. I would love to hear your thoughts because I'm making this video right now. I'm like torn. I'm like really torn. I want to like it, but I just don't. All right, I'll see you guys later. May the power protect you.